Hi, Eric Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I'm going to show you a really special lens. This TTArtisan 50mm 1.4, but there's something really special. It is tilt. As you can see, you can change the focal plane this way. So I'm going to tell you more about it and show you some samples. So let's start. So, well, what I said, this is the tilt lens. It means you change the focal plane. So what is a tilt or shift lenses? This one is only tilt. You don't have the two movement. Some tilt and shift, one side and the other side. This one is just one side, okay? I'm going to show you a bit more. So what is that for? When you use a standard lens and you put your focus point at 2 meters, for example, it's not just this point that is in focus. That is everything that is at that distance. So it's like a line or a wall, okay? That would be like at 2 meters. Everything would be in focus. What is in front would not be, and what is behind, well, if the wall is low, otherwise you don't see what's behind the wall, okay? But imagine, okay? Then that will be out of focus, okay? When this happens, is because the lenses in your lens are all parallel to your sensor. But what happens if I tilt? Then the optic is not parallel to my sensor. That means that now I've changed the focal plane. It means if I focus at 2 meters, it's not everything that is at 2 meters that will be in focus. It's like a virtual line that makes that the point where you've chosen to focus at 2 meters, it will be in focus, but the next to it on both sides maybe will be a bit further or a bit closer. It means you actually can change the plane what is in focus. It's like yeah, diagonal, something like this. So I'll show you an example, okay? The first picture is 0, 0, 0, everything is neutral. You see the effect. How is out of focus in front of the place I focused and out of focus behind, okay? Now I tilt to the left and then tilt to the right and you see the difference. The focal plane is different, okay? So this is the idea of this lens. Okay, so let's speak about the lens, okay? It's fully metal. Some people have never seen a cinema lens. This is not a cinema lens, but what I'm going to tell and show, it is like cinema, which here you have some small dents because it is geared. Because some people want to use this lens for cinema or video, this way it is geared on the aperture ring and on the focusing ring, okay? So if you are interested to use it for cinema, that's fine. The diameter for the filter is 62mm. Aperture goes from 1.4 up to f16, but you don't have any click. The idea is for people who want to do video, no clicks, okay? I prefer to have clicks when it's picture, but for video, that's right, that is good not to have clicks, okay? One thing here, the ring is not too smooth. It's a bit stiff, and that's good, because when you have no click, you don't want to accidentally change aperture. When we look at the focusing ring, this is really smooth, really nice, goes from minimum distance 50 centimeters, okay? And then it gets a bit different than what you normally see on a lens, okay? Here you will find some things different. Here you have a screw here, and then you can change to the left, to the right, 8 degrees, okay? Up to 8 degrees, you don't have to go full right or full left, okay? But not just this. Here you have another screw, and you can actually rotate the lens. If you want to change the focal plane vertically, you can do it. If you want to do just horizontal, you can do it. And diagonal, you can too, okay? But just one way, not two way. This is not tilt and shift. This is just tilt, okay? But that's fine. That's fine. It all depends what you want it to do, okay? But if you wanted a tilt and shift lens, that's a lot more expensive. If we look at the Canon, I think it's a 70mm EF tilt and shift. It's like almost 2,000 euros or 1,800 euros, something like this. This one is a lot cheaper, okay? A lot cheaper. You have 12 aperture blade, so the bokeh is smooth, that's nice, creamy, that's okay, that's nice. And if we speak about optics, you have 7 elements in 6 groups. It covers an angle of 45 degrees. This is 50mm lens. And by the way, I forgot to say at the beginning, this is my Lumix S5 Mark II. This lens is made for full frame, except if you use it on Fuji Film X, because they have several mounts. L mount, which is Lumix, Sigma and Leica, then E mount for Sony, X for Fujifilm, then RF mount for Canon, Z mount for Nikon. Okay, so you have several options. This is thought for full frame, but obviously if you use E-mount on an APS-C Sony, that will work also, or Nikon Z APS-C will work also, okay? But this will cover for full frame, okay? No problem. Obviously, if it's smaller, that's fine too, okay? The weight is 450 grams up to 465 grams, depending on the mount you've chosen, okay? It's fully metal, really, even the cap is metal. Really nice, okay? Really nice build. It feels really solid. This is really precise to use to tilt and move and rotate. That's fine too. This is precise. You can lock it. Really nice. I like it. But when it comes to optics, obviously we have to speak about image quality. Well, I would say that from 1.4 to 2.8, this is not really sharp, okay? Then from f4 to f8, I would say up to f16, that's fine, no problem. F16 maybe you get optical problems, but I would say from f4 to f8, f11, that's fine, okay? That's good, that's fine. At f6, 5.6, sharpness is fine, from border to border, that's okay. At 1.4, this is not very good, okay? But there's a small problem, okay? When you're going to tilt maximum 8 degrees this way, okay, or that way, if you're on f4, that's fine. The circle that is open here is enough to cover the sensor. But if you're over f8, f11, f16, then you have vignetting on one side, okay, or the other side, depending where you point at, okay, depending how you tilt the lens, okay, because in this case, then it does not cover completely the sensor. Is it a problem? Well, ideally, that would be to have no vignetting, obviously. But is it really a big problem? Not really, because, I mean, if you frame larger, because you see it in the viewfinder, on the screen that there is vignetting, you frame a bit larger, so you can crop in post-production. That's okay, honestly. You save so much money on this lens compared to others that, well, that's okay. But obviously, yeah, you need to know that, okay? So it means that you're going to be able to really control the lens what you want. If I want vertical, diagonal, all this, I'm going to be able to play a lot in several, one way at a time, okay? Because not tilt and shift, just tilt. But still, if I want to move my focal plane diagonal this way or vertical, whatever, I can really play, okay? But it all depends on what you want to do. So, who is this lens for? Well, the origin of tilt and shift was for architecture photography. Let's say you're close to a building, you're about like 10 meters away, but 10 meters up or 20 meters up, the distance is very different. So if you want to make a picture of this building and have everything in focus, this is complicated, okay? It's going to be hard to have everything in focus. So what you would do is tilt to make sure the plane is corrected. Honestly, I would not use this lens for architecture. I think you need to have both sides, tilt, shift, and also uncentered also. So I think that's fine for someone on a budget who want to play a bit like this. But I think this lens is for more for artistic use, okay? Let's say you make a picture from city rooftops and you want to have just a street in focus, like what they call the miniature effect or maquette effect, okay? Then that's fine, okay? Or you want even some portrait, you want to have just the eye in focus and the rest is really lost, okay? People who love to lose everything in bokeh, they call it, you know, bokeh soup, I would say. They will love it because you can really isolate your subject in a really different way than just a normal focal plane depth of field, okay? So I think people who are well into creativity, they will love this lens because they're able to play, okay? The fact that it's not too sharp at maximum aperture, well, depends the kind of picture you make, but for many people actually look this softness in portrait or in creativity things, they will love it. There's not a problem that it's not that sharp, okay? I don't think, and also because it's not that sharp on the borders. So if you're actually tilting and your borders are really out of focus, you will not notice that they're not that sharp anyway, so that's not a problem, okay? So for me, this lens is really special, really interesting to play with, to use for creativity. So would I recommend this lens? Well, if you're into out of focus games and style and playing all this, you will love it. If you're more looking for 50mm 1.4 because you want to have shallow depth of field but more classical lens, there are better lenses with that are really luminous, better than lenses than this, okay? I would buy this only if you're really interested in the tilt feature, okay? Otherwise, buy a standard 50mm 1.4 and that's it, okay? But if you're into this game of playing with creativity, out of focus, all this, you're going to love it. So for me, it is a really recommendable lens. So if you like it, I'll leave you links in the description on where you can buy it. I hope I didn't forget anything. I'll show you some picture, but it was more technical picture than artistic picture and beautiful picture. It was just to show you the effect, okay? So thank you so much TTArtisan for sending me the lens. Thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Small button and here's a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.